Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack something pretty incredible. How a 500-year-old accounting blueprint holds the actual key to solving the massive IT chaos in modern banking. Let's get right into it.
So, look, legacy IT architecture is absolutely holding banks back, right? It stifles innovation, it drains budgets, we all know this. But the crazy part? The solution to this modern 21st century technological headache has literally been hiding in plain sight for half a millennium. We are talking 500 years.
Here is our agenda for this strategic briefing. 1. The root of IT chaos. 2. Pacioli's forgotten blueprint. 3. The financial contract standard. 4. Unlocking executive benefits. And 5. A safe implementation path.
Section 1. The root of IT chaos. Why exactly are bank systems so tangled?
If you're a banking executive looking at your IT infrastructure, you probably ask yourself this question constantly. Why is it so chaotic? Well, to understand this, we actually have to go way back to the 1950s when early computers first hit the banking industry. You see, the biggest pain point at the time wasn't data analytics or anything complex. It was just balancing debits and credits. That was the nightmare keeping accountants up at night. So banks built their very first computer programs to solve that one specific problem.
And honestly, this perfectly illustrates the mess we're in today. Using computers to just solve an end-of-pipe problem, like balancing debits and credits. Our source material calls that the alchemy approach. It's kind of like alchemists desperately mixing things backward to try and make gold, instead of just understanding the foundational science of atoms. True science, on the other hand, means starting at the foundation. And for a bank, that foundation isn't the end-of-the-month accounting totals. It's the actual financial contracts themselves.
Moving to Section 2. Pacioli's forgotten blueprint. The missing puzzle piece.
To find that true science approach, we have to look back to Luca Pacioli, the 15th century Renaissance genius who basically invented modern accounting. Now, Pacioli had this brilliant but completely forgotten concept called the ricordantes. He outlined a few essential books for merchants, right? We all remember the journal and the general ledger. But those early banking computers in the 50s, they completely skipped his vital preliminary step, the ricordantes. This was a dedicated book strictly for promised future events and obligations on a timeline. Pacioli insisted this had to be meticulously organized before you could even think about starting the accounting.
It's actually kind of comforting, and maybe a little hilarious, to know that Pacioli was roasting bankers for their chaotic records over 500 years ago. Back in 1494, he literally wrote that bankers mix up the accounts in the books of these offices in such a way that they do not correspond with anything. I mean, if he thought paper ledgers in the Renaissance were a mess, can you imagine what he'd say about the absolute spaghetti code of a modern bank's legacy IT system?
Which brings us to Section 3, the Financial Contract Standard, a resolution for the modern bank.
So the crucial question is, how do we bring this recordance into the modern computer age to fix this deeply ingrained IT mess for good? The answer is the Financial Contract Standard. See, this standard recognizes that financial contracts, whether you're talking mortgages, swaps, or plain old deposits, are really just algorithmic exchanges of cash flows. That's all they are, just promises to pay a certain amount to someone at a certain time based on specific rules. And here's the real game changer. Less than 3 dozen mathematical patterns cover the entire relevant universe of finance. Just 3 dozen. By standardizing these few patterns into code, boom, we create a modern, computerized recordance.
Let's hit Section 4, Unlocking Executive Benefits, the why for the C-suite.
Now, let's talk about why this is an absolute strategic powerhouse for your bank at the executive level. Senator Chris Dodd hit the nail on the head after the financial crisis when he said, in addition to looking in the rearview mirror, we must look through the windshield. Relying purely on backward-looking accounting, it's literally like driving your car by only staring at your rearview mirror. Standardized algorithmic contracts, on the other hand, generate expected future state contingent cash flows, so you aren't just stuck looking at what happened yesterday, you're looking right through the windshield at exactly what's coming tomorrow.
And because every single department is now working from that exact same algorithmic golden source, the alignment is just incredible. Just think about the impact across the board here. Treasury gets liquidity visibility at any granularity they need. Asset and liability managers, they get precision interest rate gap and sensitivity measures. Risk management can run highly accurate value at risk and stress testing. And regulation, you can literally hand over real-time digital twins of your bank's condition to regulators, instantly cutting down all that reporting friction. The ultimate result of all this is 100% consistent valuation across your entire organization. Different accounting methods, fair value, IFRS, local GAAP, whatever, they simply become different interpretations of the exact same expected future cash flows. This means your balance sheet essentially becomes a simple database query that just groups and sums the data. And your P&L is just a qualified delta calculation between 2 points in time. The math just works. Everything matches natively.
All right, Section 5. A safe implementation path. Avoiding the rip and replace disaster. Now, as an executive, you are probably terrified of multi-year, big bang IT overhauls. And honestly, you have every right to be. So let's talk about how to deploy this safely and completely avoid that classic, horrific rip and replace disaster. Let's look at the math of the problem you have right now. Currently, your bank probably has M transaction processing systems on the bottom floor and N analytic systems up on the top floor. To make them talk to each other, you have to build M times N interfaces. If you've got 100 transaction systems and 30 analytic systems, that is a tangled web of 3,000 expensive, incredibly fragile interfaces that break all the time. That right there is the root of your massive IT budget overhead.
But we can actually solve this without disrupting your core transaction systems at all. Here is the path. Step 1. You adopt the financial contract standard. Step 2. You map your analytic systems as a read-only layer using this standard. And then step 3, you just gradually replace those legacy transaction systems over time as they naturally retire.
By mapping to the standard on the analytic layer first, you pragmatically drop your interfaces from that nightmare M times N scenario down to just a fraction, M times 1. That 3,000 interface problem instantly drops to just 100. It's a huge difference. This saves massive operational costs and instantly de-risks your whole architecture. It gives you a unified analytical view while your legacy systems just quietly run their course safely in the background.
So I'll leave you with this final thought for your next board meeting. The financial industry is really at a crossroads right now. Are you going to keep treating the symptoms with endless, costly data swamps? Or are you ready to cure the disease by standardizing your foundation with financial contracts? This blueprint has literally been waiting for us for 500 years, and the technology is finally here to pull it off. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this helps you look clearly through the windshield of your bank's future.